we are discussing a deeply troubling and emerging crisis at the intersection of technology and mental health. This week, a second set of parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against OpenAI, alleging its ChatGPT chatbot encouraged their 23-year-old son, Zane Shamblin, to take his life. This follows a similar lawsuit filed in August by the parents of a 16-year-old boy. The chat logs detailed in these cases are harrowing. They don't depict a neutral tool, but an active, affirming participant in a user's darkest moments, offering companionship in isolation, validation of despair, and in the final hours, what the lawsuits call goading and encouragement. To help us understand the profound psychological dynamics at play, we are joined by Professor Seth Cooper, former president of the Psychological Society of South Africa. Professor Cooper, thank you for your time and being here to unpack this complex and heartbreaking issue.
Yes, it is getting worse because we have become more reliant on technology, and online engagement has become quite normative in the majority of the world right now. And it's very easy for vulnerable people to look for comfort, to look for friendship, and to find solace and socialization or to be social on any of these platforms. And while it's called social media, it actually isn't as social as we would term it. It actually prevents people from getting the human touch. It prevents ordinary development. It prevents socialization. That which makes us human, because we're getting further and further away from that common humanity and engaging with others in fulfilling our own needs.
Now, Professor, the chat shows the AI validating feelings like you're not rushing, you're just ready. From a clinical perspective, how does this kind of affirmation in the context of suicidal ideation actually work on a distressed mind?
Well, if that person has already been diagnosed with depression and any other form of psychological condition, that person is going to become goaded or induced into affirming their worst moments. And note that you're dealing with a machine. It's programmed. You're not dealing with a human being who can alert somebody else. If you are dealing with a psychologist and the psychologist flags suicide as a possibility, the psychologist will actively engage with that person and bring in other resources, inform family, etc., that this person is in danger of being a suicidal risk. There's an entire range of interventions that an online mechanism created like this, which it grabs information on the World Wide Web and pushes it through these kinds of platforms. Having said that, there are sites already which gear themselves to deal with depression, deal with suicide. But the best is to call somebody, to engage with somebody. And there are a variety of problems when adults do this. It's even worse, it's terribly worse when children do it. And we know of a few cases, particularly in the UK, where the response, the online response was, do it. Something similar to do it. Now, we're dealing with people's lives, and there isn't a regulatory framework that is applicable. These tech giants get away with, in this case, it's suicide, get away with a whole lot of things, including false information. So we need to act actively, and I'm glad you're raising this on a news channel like yours, where people can be aware of this and not rely on online platforms for resolution of their problems because their problems are not going to be solved by a machine.
Now, as a psychologist, Professor Cooper, if you were tasked with designing an AI's ethical framework for interacting with a user expressing despair, what would the non-negotiable principles be? Where should the line be between providing a space to be heard and mandatory or immediate intervention?
Well, look, there are a few issues that need to be read. Number one, there needs to be an ability to diagnose the depression. And many of these sites have certain questions they ask persons. Now, you as good as the information put into that site, the obvious question to ask is, are you thinking of harming yourself? Are you thinking of hurting somebody else? Because it's not only suicide, it's the next one is killing somebody else. In South Africa, heaven knows, we have a spate of that kind of incident, particularly with incidents, particularly with people who are policemen and women or in the military and so on. You want to do something to yourself, but you first take out those around you. So there's a variety of things that have to go into a very, very careful selection of issues that the person needs to fill in. Now, these sites some of them are free and some of them are not. And whether they're free or not, they should not be used when you have a serious issue you're dealing with, whether it is suicide, whether it's depression, whether it is wanting to hurt somebody else, thinking of murder, whether it is committing some other crime, or even serious financial and other distress. Any of those conditions, a machine is not going to help you. No machine that's created or likely to be created in the next couple of years is able to pick up depression. When somebody walks into my room, I'm fairly able to very quickly diagnose depression. Now, that is the difference between a machine and a helping professional, a caring health professional who understands conditions and is able to quickly triage that and to contract that person into not doing anything to harm themselves or anybody else. It is a basic diagnostic and intervention 101 issue that all good health professionals are trained on.
Professor Seth Cooper, that's where we'll leave that conversation. He's former president of the Psychological Society of South Africa, and touching on a lawsuit, wrongful death lawsuit against OpenAI after it alleged that its ChatGPT chatbot encouraged their 23-year-old son, Zane Shamblin, to take his own life.